Hey, all cinephile, Mike, your friendly neighborhood cinephile is here, and this is episode 17 of Oscar Rewind 2024 edition, my bi-weekly series of videos where I revisit the work of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. My hope is that you will discover a new older favorite or maybe rediscover that film that you haven't seen in some time. As always, I'll be discussing the film's awards season run, the box office, and critical ratings, and as always, the reviews will be spoiler free. Also, before I jump in, if you haven't yet, check out my new website, cinephilemike.com, where you can find exclusive print reviews of all of the big movies of summer 2024. Starting with The Fall Guy, if you head over to my website, you can find that review today. And every week, I'll be giving you the big release and as many other summer movies as I can cram in. Click on over and check that out. But today, we are going to be discussing Focus Features' Far From Heaven. This lush period piece was released in the fall of 2002. Written and directed by Todd Haynes, this marked the second time he and Julianne Moore collaborated after 1995's Safe, with the third time being this past season's May December. Now, during its theatrical run, Far From Heaven made a worldwide total of $29,027,914, with $15,901,849 domestically and $13,126,065 internationally, as per Box Office Mojo. Now, as per Rotten Tomatoes, the film sits with a critical rating of 87%, made up of 222 reviews, and an audience score of 79% based on over 10,000 reviews and ratings. Where do I fall with this one? Well, Far From Heaven, first off, lands on Rewind this season for two reasons that you may or may not be as immediately aware. Now, for my fellow pundits, you are correct. Neither writer-director Haynes nor Moore were nominated for the Oscars this year, though they were nominated elsewhere. But it is this film, Far From Heaven's cinematographer Edward Lockman, who was nominated for his third Oscar for his work on El Conde. And one of the film's producers, Christine Vachon, was also nominated this past season for producing Best Picture nominee Past Lives. I spoke about Vachon a couple of weeks ago when I spoke about Hedwig and the Angry Inch. So I will focus a little more on some of the awards for Lockman, who was also nominated for the Oscar for this film, Far From Heaven, which was one of four nominations this film had in 2003. The other three nominations were for Elmer Bernstein for Best Original Score, Moore for Lead Actress, and Haynes for Original Screenplay. Now, it should be said, Lockman received many accolades for his work on this film, Far From Heaven, including winning Best Cinematography from several different film festivals, the New York Film Critics Circle Award, the National Society of Film Critics, and the Independent Spirit Award. Actually, Far From Heaven won all five categories that it was nominated for. In addition to cinematography, it won Best Picture, so there was a win for Vachon that she shared with Jody Allen, Best Director for Haynes, Best Female Lead for Moore, and Best Supporting Male for Julianne's co-star Dennis Quaid. The Critics' Choice Awards gave Moore Best Actress and also nominated it for Best Picture. It had four Golden Globe Award nominations for Screenplay for Haynes, Lead in a Drama for Moore, Supporting for Quaid, and Original Score again for Bernstein. Moore and Quaid were also nominated for SAG Awards, and Moore was named the Best Actress, as well as the film being named one of the top 10 films by the National Board of Review. A lot of awards there. But what is it about? Well, Moore plays the model 1950s housewife, Kathy Whitaker. Her and her husband, Frank, played by Quaid, are the ideal couple. So much so, in fact, that Frank's marketing firm used images of them in their ad campaign for Magnatech televisions. They are the Magnatech, Mr. and Mrs. Raising their two children, Moore's days are filled with social obligations, lunches, parties, planning, and a lot of the other stereotypical roles for a woman of her station in the 1950s, being a housewife, while Frank heads off to work. But lately, Frank is coming home a little later than usual, and there's even one instance pretty early on where Kathy has to go pick him up from prison one night. This is not exactly the image for the Magnatech prestige couple. A different night, Kathy goes to surprise him at work and finds not just her and him in the office. And so thus begins to shatter the wonderful image that she is seeking so hard to protect. Additionally, and I should reference, not only does the film take place in the 1950s, but also in the Northeast in Connecticut. So these next points I talk about are also a little bit scandalous, which is one day Kathy sees a colored man walking in her backyard, who she will quickly learn is Raymond, played by Dennis Haysbert, who is the son of the former gardener who used to work at her home. He's taken over the business, so Raymond is visiting all of the clients. So she believes it's okay to have conversations and let him do what he needs to do. Now, as her life begins to go through its challenges, one day Kathy's just so worked up, she's upset. She walks outside and meets Raymond, who invites her to take a break, come with him, run some errands, and they end up going to a bar for a drink where Kathy is the only non person of color in the establishment. And upon leaving, this is witnessed by some of the members of her social circle. And really, with what I've said, I really can't divulge any more into the plot without giving it away and going into spoiler mode, which we all know I don't like to do. Look, this film, I will say, it tackles a lot of different issues. And somehow, while in some ways you would almost think maybe it's trying to do too much, especially given that the film is only 107 minutes long, in just under 2 hours, Haynes tackles issues of social class, racism, and sexual orientation, all very taboo topics for the time where the film is set. And yet he does this very, very well. He has a tight story that moves. And a lot of what works and supports this are the visuals. Lachman's cinematography gloriously captures the film in its mise en scène style, with now everything you're looking at almost looks like you're not watching a film, but you're looking at a live theater play. These leaf strewn lawns and pathways, the lush home of the Whitakers, the galleries they're going to, and then even the bars that are frequented by many of the characters in the play. And additionally, all of that works. So we have to give credit to these lush color palettes exuding in the work of multi-Oscar nominated and winning costume designer Sandy Powell. I'm actually surprised she wasn't nominated for this film. And Mark Friedberg's production design with support from Peter Rognus's art direction and Ellen Christensen's set decoration. The bright primary colors that you're watching, you can even kind of see in the poster. These just present this larger than life, almost what are we looking at? That covers up how everything is not as glorious as it seems. Where some of the similar plot lines in this are similar for those that watched Mad Men at the time, this is a brighter, more vibrant version where Mad Men at times was a little more somber in tone, color tones. The cast, I also want to say, is very strong. In addition to Moore, Quaid, and Haysbert, there are several strong supporting performances, one by Patricia Clarkson, who plays Kathy's best friend Eleanor, two very chatty socialites. Mona, played by Celia Weston, and an unnamed elderly woman played by June Squibb, who only have two short scenes but really make their punch. And then also, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the ever wonderful, by her, Kathy's side at all times, their maid Sybil, played by what will become future Oscar nominee and winner Viola Davis. Haynes crafts a behind the scenes of the proper image that will be heartbreaking to watch. And you may not sympathize with all of the characters, but they are ready to take you on this journey. Easily, and it's rare, but Far From Home for me is a 5-star film. Aged over 20 years, the film feels just as relevant now in 2024 as it did when as it was released. Probably as when of the time period with which it takes place in. If you are interested in catching Far From Heaven, unfortunately, as of this recording, there is no streaming information available, but you can rent it on almost all digital platforms for as low as $4. So, there you have it. As always, I hope everyone is enjoying Oscar Rewind. Is there a film that you're still hoping I get to? Let me know. You can also now contact me through my website. You never know, I may invite you on to review it with me. If you like what you heard here, please subscribe, like the channel, spread the word. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms, then on Letterboxd. As always, everybody, happy watching, and until next time, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.